Thank you, Pam. Hello, everybody. We're going to get this party started. I'm Deborah Baker Ryan, and I count myself lucky to be a friend of Terry Bozarth. Welcome to Terry Bozarth's Celebration of Life. We know that Terry was so proud to have known all of us. She told us so. She touched our lives in so many ways. This party today is to honor and celebrate the life of Terry Lorraine Tillotson Bozarth. Thank you for joining us here and remembering the special woman Terry was for so many people. Thank you to Terry for all that she did all her life for us and for others. Kathy Lamberth, with the help of some of her Democratic sisters, created that lovely photographic display that you just saw. She did a great job, didn't she? It was beautiful. Mary Bell Lunsford and Kathy White will help us to celebrate Terry in this first part of the celebration. Then we will move to the back of the sanctuary to continue Terry's celebration less formally with refreshments provided by other Democratic sisters and memories about our dear friend. Judy Byrne Riley will help us with that part of our celebration. Enjoy remembering Terry today. Now, here's Mary Bell Lunsford to give you a tribute to Terry Bozarth as Mary Bell knew her.
Hi, I'm so glad everybody showed up. Terry will be so pleased, I'm sure she's looking down, smiling. I wasn't going to do this. Tamara McClellan, her daughter, is here, and we're so glad she got to come. And actually, I'm going to the obituary because I'm not from the mic, and I will tell those in the back. Terry L. Bozarth, born October 21st, 1939. She passed from this earth on April 14th, 2025. Terry Lorraine Bozarth, age 85, passed away in the early morning hours of April 14th, 2025 at her home in Fort Walton Beach, surrounded by loved ones. Born in October in Iowa, Terry was the daughter of loving parents, Terry Lester and Lavera Tillotson. She was the eldest of 7 siblings: Barry, Janice May, Bruce, Benny, Mark, and Gary. Through the years, these kids formed an inseparable bond and affectionately referred to themselves as the Magnificent Seven. Terry was married to her devoted husband, Donald Bozarth, marking their union of 48 years this past December. Their marriage was manifested with a deep affection for each other that endured the test of time. They were truly inseparable throughout their lives together. She was preceded in death by her parents, Terry and Lavera Tillotson, sisters-in-law, Janice Tillotson, Janine Tillotson, and her first husband, Robert McClellan. Terry is lovingly remembered by her brothers, Barry Tillotson, Bruce Tillotson, Mark Tillotson, Gary Tillotson, and sister Janice May Thomas Frankham. My goodness, I met all these siblings during the time Terry was sick, and it is amazing. Her Timothy Thomas McClellan. She has 16 grandchildren. Know her. Fortunate and providing through her tireless chief executive for at the Adopt a Family Foundation in West Palm Beach, Florida, as well as many other nonprofits. We love you, Terry.
Hi, I'm Kathy. Did everyone get one of these little tea lights when you came in? If you didn't, let's get you one right now. As you just heard about her children and her siblings, they were the Magnificent Seven, the first generation and the second generation. And they were all incredible tending to Terry during her confinement. She received her, wait a minute. And Bill and I met Terry at the Democratic headquarters office probably 9 years ago, and we just hit it off and became a friendship. Terry was a volunteer extraordinaire. She was passionate about volunteering with the Mary Esther Friends of the Library, all Okaloosa Democrat organizations, and the AARP tax program. Long before moving to Mary Esther to help with care for her family, Terry volunteered and was a force working the she landed. Terry's confinement conversations told me you arrived. Stand and sing this. I think the lyrics are up. Rose, do you have the lyrics? Okay, the lyrics are inside your bulletin. She's going to play it through one time. Pam's going to continue to play, and as she does, I would like for you to come forward and add your light to Terry's because she gave you the spark. And when you go back, do not sit down, fill the aisles and hold hand, and we're going to sing Let There Be Peace on Earth. Now, as we conclude this part of the service with Let There Be Peace on Earth, I want you to look at just the little tiny lights that she started here and imagine what she did over her lifetime of 85 years.
Those are the more traditional, so I may have found a different version.
Because that's the version I know. So that's the one I pulled up.
Yeah, yeah. So
It's
I
kinda like-
guess somebody's done it now here, it doesn't say. Yeah.
before you get too comfortable, go get a plate of food and get some sangria or water, whatever you want, and then come back and have a seat and we'll tell good stories. So there's lots of food. We don't want to take any of it home. So y'all start. Now food and drink. Then we tell stories. After the drinks.
I'm talking about you.
Oh, me first.
You personally.
I've been here 80 years. I think everybody's got some food, almost everybody. So you can't talk with your mouth full, but you can swallow and tell stories. So while we're starting, everybody start thinking about some good stories. We've all been to memorial services, whatever you want to call it, celebration of life, and this is the best part. This is the best part. I want to draw attention to a couple of things. I want to thank Kathy White for pushing us all and taking the lead on this, and we now just do whatever Kathy tells us to do. And in the program, she's got Terry's Democratic Sisters, which is a group of us. And we call ourselves the ISB group, which does not need any explanation here for sure. However, it is a good story. Like Kathy, I think all of us met Terry and Dawn, because it's one word, Terry and Dawn. I suppose I did see Terry without Dawn, but very seldom. And certainly if it was an activity that was supporting Democratic events, Dawn was right next to her. And there were many, many rallies that they had their chairs right out there with the rest of us in the heat, in the sun, waving the outrageous signs. And I saw her the week before she died and said, I always think of you as sitting by the side of the road waving a sign in the sun with Dawn right next to you in your folding chair, which some kind person, usually a daughter or son, had brought you, or somebody from here had brought her. So she was just a continual supporter and a continual flag waver, and she was just always there. If there was an event, she was there. If it was a rally, she was there. So I'd be happy to bring this. You don't have to stop or get up. Over to you. You fashion. We can take it around to the tables. Yolanda, got a story. Don't be shy. Here we go. Here we go.
Press anything on
No,
this
just
thing?
talk.
Okay. Hi, I'm Kim. I met Terry as a new member of Okaloosa Democrats, and John and I had come to the area, and I was just so thrilled to find a Democrat group. Terry at the time was organizing volunteers for sitting in the office, and she had a way about her that was not scowling or anything like that. She would just look at you, and you could hear her say, "You will volunteer." So I did, and I really enjoyed Terry. I considered her one of the most unflappable people I have ever met.
Deborah, you have.
I'm wiping the delicious blueberry muffins or blueberry cupcakes off of my mouth. Kim made those. Great. I'm 16 campaign for Hillary. And I met actually because here on Lewis Turner in Fort Walton Beach, Reverend Raleigh had provided a building for the Democrats to work out of. And these two people come in the front door in the reception area, and Terry marches up to the desk and she says, "We're here to volunteer. We want to go canvassing." Now, how old was she, Tamara? we were taken back a little bit. We said, "Are you sure? You can phone bank, you can call people and stuff." "Oh, yeah, we'll do that too, but we want to go canvassing. We canvassed for Obama, and, we want to go canvassing." So we set her and Dawn up, and they went canvassing all over Okaloosa County for Hillary Clinton. And I never doubted her for a minute after I saw what she did, because she and Don were there just about every day in 2016 helping out with the campaign, and then the rest is history. She went on to, do all kinds of things with the Democrats. So I'm grateful that I got to meet her almost 10 years ago, and she was a wonderful lady, wonderful, and all of us know how much she touched our lives. Anybody else?
I met Terry, I think like 2018. She recruited me to knock doors. And I love knocking doors, and I always have loved knocking doors. And we went to some event, I don't remember what it was, but I was sitting at a table talking to Mike Johnston, and she came over and she's like, Lisa, when you're a new person, you need to go around and talk to everyone else, because they're here and they haven't had talked to. So Terry was like, quit talking to Mike and go talk to everyone else that's new here. And I just think that's just great of Terry, and we need lots more Terrys. Who else?
I met Terry actually at this church. I had heard there was a meeting of Democrats, and I thought, oh my gosh, I just moved here and I have no friends and I need some Democrat friends. And I had moved from Mississippi and I didn't have any Democrat friends over there. So anyway, we struck up a conversation and it just moved on from there. And yes, she can recruit you to drive from Crestview to Fort Walton to Canvas to whatever. And she let you know she appreciated it. That was the whole thing, was she let you know that you were doing something good for the world. And so then it bloomed into more of a friendship. We're not knocking on doors, and I'd come down, and I think as close as she and Don were, the one thing that I really am thankful for is she trusted me with Don. And by that I mean sometimes she just needed a break, and I would take him to lunch. And the last thing that I got to do with Don was Valentine's Day. She was in the hospital and she needed a break. So she calls me, and I come pick Dawn up, and we go to Kohl's, and he wants to buy her a new pair of pajamas. And we went through that whole store. You think you can move get around when he needed to. And one thing he kept saying was, I want something eloquent. I'll never forget that. What a compliment to Terry. And so we got to, and I just love Terry, and I miss her.
I'm Clara, and Tara adopted me. And she would come every once a month. Her son Ted would come pick me up since I don't drive. And he would take us to the egg place, One Egg on 98. And every month we had breakfast together. And it was the highlight of our time. We got to talk about the things we like to talk about. And I really miss her.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am a talker, so I'm just going to try to keep this really short. Okay. I'm trying. I don't know how it's going to play out, but I'm going to try my best, okay? I met Terry in 2018 when I transitioned and retired from the military and moved here from Arkansas. And I had a cottage that was down the street from the Mary Esther Library, and that's where I met her because I'm one of the members of the Friends of the Library at Mary Esther. And she said because of my spunk, which I don't know, but because of my spunk, but I think that's how she was as well. She recruited me for the Dems as well. I've always been pretty much an activist for about 25 years, but then just the push that she was able to give in this particular area, not knowing someone. One thing that I did want to say is that, and I always tell my children this as well, is that I've lived a life. Right? And it's one thing that when I think about her and think about just the love that she permeated and how she made everyone feel welcome, to me, although I know that we'll miss her presence, it was a life well lived. When you think about the people that came here and the people that could have wanted to come here, she lived, when you can go somewhere and just, like the song says, let your light shine and just light and ignite someone else's light. I think that's what we're here for. And so she left a perfect example. She left a great example, and I'm sure you got that firsthand in your household. And I'm just really grateful that part of my life journey that I had an opportunity to cross with hers.
Don't forget, too, we've got cards and envelopes to be addressed to go to Don so that he will get a continual mail. So write your note to him and say what you want to say. Tell him about today. And we'll make sure they get in the mail on a regular basis. Someone else?
Judy and I used to work at the office at the same time, and when the pandemic came and we closed the office, it was hard. Everybody was having the same kind of problems of meeting other people and getting bored at home. And so Judy and I decided, somewhere halfway, maybe a month into this, that it was time we opened the office again. And since I was chair of the Okaloosa Democrats Club, I said, that's good, we'll go ahead and do that. And so we went in on our normal day that we would normally go in, and guess what? The office was open, and Terry and Don were there. So she was a wonderful woman, and she lit a spark under all, and I'm grateful.
All right.
And office stories on her. Don was setting it up and everything else, and we're at some meeting. I don't know if you were present at the time. I think that was afterwards, but Kevin was involved. Our office people and everything else, of course, to keep my mouth closed. I said, well, sure, I can do it this whatever day. She said, oh, that's so nice, just that one day. I'm glad you're all laughing, because you know what comes after that. I'm sitting there in the office, and she walks in with a little list and rubs it down, goes, and would you like to sign up for some more? I said, well, sure, my wife and I travel a lot. Well, just do, She kind of held my hand and aimed them. So I signed up for days after, and then I'd get the phone call if someone dropped out. Can you jump in? So it was an experience, shall we say, of, I love to get volunteers, but it was really worked, being worked. She was an artist.
You know who these stories remind me of? Who remembers Betty Lair? Does this not sound like Betty? She could get you to volunteer to do almost anything, including money, which has always seemed to be a check of something. So she had a good role model there, Terry did. Who else? All right.
I'm John Holt. I used to do a lot of the electronic things for the Democratic Party. And Terry was just good at getting people to volunteer. In fact, there were a number of times that Terry told me that I had volunteered to take the sound system to an event. Now, I don't remember volunteering, but she assured me.
I'm sure she was right, John. One more. Mary Bell's got another.
once we knew Terry wasn't going to get up and about, we decided, women, that we were going to make her a flower garden outside her porch. So we did. We got a bunch of flowers together, put it in, and from where she was sitting on the bed, she could look out. And she took, I don't know how many pictures she took of that little bunch of flowers, but it really pleased her. So everybody that was involved with that, thanks, because she definitely enjoyed it. I killed one of them that I took home. Sorry.
Anybody else?
I met Terry, I think it was that club from way back when that was only women. It's so long ago now, I forget the name of it. I think they were all Democrats, but anyway. So, and at some point, needed her to ride, and we just, we live a mile from her, something like that. And I said, and meanwhile, Kathy White's driving across town to pick her up different. I said, let us pick you up. And it was so cool because we would go to coffee meetups every Thursday morning. And we got to know each other. Sometimes nobody else would show up, and it would just be Terry and I just sitting there getting to know each other. And as everybody here can attest, it takes about 2 seconds for her to just get deep into your heart. And every time I picked her up, I felt like I was being blessed from the beyond. It was a spiritual experience knowing Terry.
Okay, I have a couple of emails to read. This one is from Diane Dillard, and she says, Terry was a trooper, a real one. She was a constant here in Okaloosa County whenever and wherever she could help, specifically with the Okaloosa Democrats, the AARP tax service. Her legacy will live on. And I have another one. This one is from Alan Pachik. Thanks so much for the invite. Terry and Don was so welcoming to me when I moved here after the 2016 election. I am so thankful that you are celebrating Terry's life because she is so deserving and should serve as an inspiration to everyone as to why to be a Democrat. Many thanks to all of you that have done things for the local Democrats. I left some of it out. I edited it. And then I have another one. This one is for Melody Carino, and she says, I didn't know Terry for too long. I went to a hootenanny one night, and Terry welcomed me in. I had recently moved to Fort Walton and didn't really know anyone. I would occasionally run into her as she did volunteer work for the Democrats. She invited me to a tea party at the Mary Esther Library, which got me out of the house. My last visit with her was to drop by her house to sign a petition. I couldn't stay too long, but I was able to stay long enough for her to listen to my travel and golf ramblings. I was just thinking of sending her a text when I read of her passing. She was a wonderful person, and she always remembered me. I'm glad I was able to know her during my time here. And I'm going to pass this off to Phil Air.
Okay, thanks. So I'm thinking about the quality of leadership that everybody's been describing here, and I just want to go back to COVID. It was COVID, and Terry was leading people knocking on doors. And what was happening? The world was crashing down around us. People were in hospitals, and it was horrific. I got word, I'm from Pensacola, and I got word in Pensacola that the volunteers have stopped. There was a revolt. They're not knocking on doors. And I'm sure because she bond concerned about the risk of not just knocking on doors in a contentious time, but having both hatred and a virus or whatever that was come at you. So I was, with some help, turned that into a positive and said we were the second congressional candidate in the congressional campaign in the nation to shut down for the safety of our people, and that's due in large part, of course, to Terry's stewardship of our health, all of our health. And I wouldn't have had and I'll speak for other candidates as well. We would not have had the other your support and your talent and your commitment and your love for our country expressed through little campaigns without her leadership. And I don't think that's hyperbolic to say. She really corralled people through the coffees, through the socials, through the hootenannies, with Betty Lair, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I just came from Gay Valamont. She and I were at a meeting, an event for Dondre Wise, who's in a special election over in, had a meet and greet. No, it's over in House District 3, and it was over in Milton, or Baghdad, actually. But there were more young people showing up to say, I want to lead. And they demonstrated that leadership in the same type of thing that Terry was talking about. You mentioned going out to coffees with her. There's one woman who said that she's gathering up people to go up to Washington, D.C. this 6th of June for the Veterans Protest. How is she doing that? She's just getting a van. She's recently retired from the U.S. Army. And she's taken folks up, and that's just wonderful. She talks about getting together on a weekly basis. Did you say Terry got together with you on a weekly or a coffee group? That thing is still happening. So Terry goes in the long line, long line of leaders. So it's really heartening to know that it happened here with her leadership, and it's happening and it continues. So thank you very much for everybody for supported Gay Valamont, me, Steve Specht, Jennifer Zimmerman, in the House. Florida. Thank you.
Oh my God, how we wish you were in D.C. now. Well, yeah, not to vote, unfortunately. There's a major commonality here. I know that Terry had a life before she was volunteering and so active in Democrats here, but that's the commonality. Let it be a of his name. We've got a lot of work to do, and we get closer every time, but Lord have mercy. Let's not go there. Okay, any other funny stories? Yep, here we go. And you can get seconds. There's still more food. We don't want to take it home.
I hope this isn't terrible to say, but she roped me into helping do the sign waving in front of Ruby Tuesday. And there's people that honk and support you, but there's a lot of cars that were going by saying the F word. And so to make her laugh, I said, I don't know that F word because everybody else uses faggot for me. And she laughed and she said, don't say that. And I said, it's a joke. And she said, I tried to make her laugh.
Yeah, I kind of knew Teddy in a roundabout. I mean, I knew her son Teddy, and that's how I met her because he was aware of my subversive urban tactics. I'm a little radical. I'm kind of civilized, but I can operate under the radar. And he says to me, "You have got to meet my mother." And he said, we call her the commander. And that's what the family always called her, was the commander, because they said she could take over small countries. And she was freaking hilarious. I went to I remember, I don't know when the first thing I went with her to, but I went to a whole lot more after that. I think I went to the Women's March with her, the very first one in Pensacola. Yeah, I think that was our first one. But I'll tell you what, I got I've been flipped off a lot in my life, but way more so anywhere I went with Harry. And her chair completely unflappable. I don't know. I just had great respect for her, and I miss her, and I miss Don, the sweetest man on the planet.
Met Terry in, I think, 2021 after Roe v. Wade was overturned. One of quite a few to Terry and Dawn mostly after I started working for Mike over there. And I would take Dawn to the library and to Target, and we would go to the library and look for books and stuff and bring Terry mystery novel. Terry and Dawn sang me happy birthday.
Anyone else? All right. Well, we're going to have a little bit more. Rose is going to play some music for us and have some more food. And if anything comes to you, the microphone will be right here. So don't be shy. Oh, one more. See what happened?
So I don't have a funny story, but Terry was so humble, and the Democratic women nominated Terry for the Okaloosa County Commission on the Status of Women's Wall of Honor. And she was just so humble in receiving that, but so appreciative. And so her write-up is over here if you haven't had a chance to look at it. She definitely deserved it.
Yeah, she did. That's a great honor to be on that wall. And I think we had a good number of people there to congratulate her when she was inducted into the Wall of Honor. Anybody else? Okay. Rose will play us a little background music and makes it kind of soft and get some more food. And the sangria is just really terrible. I'm going to go get my 4th cup, so no, not true. But feel free.
Hey, everybody. I just want to tell you something. Terry really didn't want a celebration of life or a service. So Deborah and Kim went to see her one day, and they were talking about her being on the Hall of Fame and how wonderful it was. And her son, Mark, was it Mark?
it was Tim, said, Mom, you need to let them do what they want to do. And she agreed. So that's why we're here.